Kawhi Leonard banned from the NBA and sentenced to life over $28 million fraud scheme. Kawhi Leonard, the man once called the silent assassin on the basketball court, has officially gone from MVP to most wanted player. Yes, you heard me right. Banned from the NBA and slapped with a life sentence over a jaw-dropping $28 million fraud scheme. How does a guy who barely speaks end up at the center of one of the wildest scandals in sports history? Did his infamous load management extend all the way to scamming banks? Or was this the ultimate play drawn up by Uncle Dennis himself? Buckle up, because this story is about to blow your mind. So here we are, folk. The NBA's quietest superstar has just made the loudest headlines in sports history. Kawhi Leonard, the man who built his career on being the unshakable, stone-faced killer on the court, is now being called the biggest scam artist the league has ever seen. You think I'm exaggerating? Tell that to the federal judge who just handed him a life sentence over a scandal so wild it makes the Enron guys look like amateurs. Let's back it up, because the receipts go way deeper than just this $28 million bombshell. Remember when Kawhi was supposed to be the savior of San Antonio, but ghosted the Spurs with injuries nobody could quite diagnose? Yeah, that wasn't just drama. It was the opening act of a career that's been marinated in controversy. From mystery load management schedules that turned Clippers games into a roulette wheel of will Kawhi play tonight, to the whispers about Uncle Dennis allegedly asking for private jets, luxury houses, and part ownership of a franchise just to seal free agency deal. This man's off-court resume is looking like a Netflix docuseries waiting to happen. But here's the kicker. Even with all those red flags waving in plain sight, the NBA, the Clippers, and apparently half of Wall Street still bent over backwards to keep this guy happy. Because Kawhi wasn't just a player. He was a brand, a finals MVP, a walking meme of fun guy envy, and the face who hit that shot over. The league thought they were protecting one of their golden tickets. What they were really propping up the mastermind of one of the most jaw-dropping fraud schemes the game has ever seen. The story goes like, a financial startup called Aspiration inked a monster $28 million endorsement deal with Kawhi. Sounds normal. Wrong, because according to investigators, Kawhi didn't do a damn thing to earn no cams, not even a fake Instagram post with a water bottle in the front. Employees from inside the company straight up said Kawhi was the highest paid ghost they'd ever. One leaked email. At least Casper shows up sometimes. And here's where things get see. Guess who was also funneling millions into this same company at the exact Clippers owner? Coincidence? If you believe that, I've got a timeshare on Mars. The timing was too perfect, too suspicious, and according to anonymous sources, way too. This wasn't a simple endorsement. Wrong. This was a salary cap bypass operation dressed up as a business. A chess move so sneaky it would make even the Houston ass blush. Now the dominoes are falling. With the bankruptcy filings, leak tracts, and the NBA's so-called independent investigation uncovering shady backlinks, it's clear Kawhi's carefully built image of a quiet professional has officially. And if you thought this scandal ended fraud money, oh no, my friends, the rabbit hole. As investigators started peeling the layers, the fraud began to look less like a business blunder and more like a Hollywood. For this, a federal task force storming into Aspiration's headquarters, only to discover emails labeled project management. And no, that wasn't about Kawhi sitting out back-to-back games. It was literally the code name for funneling $7 million a year into Kawhi's pockets. If this doesn't scream scam, I don't know what does. And the spending? Oh, buckle up. Leaked bank statements allegedly show Kawhi's LLC dropping obscene amounts of cash on things that make even the Kardashians look thrifty. We're talking diamond-encrusted therapy rooms, custom silent sneakers that squeak in reverse just to troll defenders, and get this, a rumored underground bunker filled with fun guy merch nobody asked for. One anonymous ex-employee described it perfectly. It was like watching the world's most boring man live like a Bond villain. Naturally, the public went nuts. NBA Twitter erupted like it was Game 7 of the finals. Memes flooded timelines. Kawhi photoshopped in an orange jumpsuit dunking over Judge Judy, Uncle Dennis holding bags of cash labeled Aspiration Fund, and Steve Ballmer sobbing into his courtside nachos. Even Shaq chimed in on TNT, laughing so hard he nearly fell out of his chair. Life sentence? Man, Kawhi couldn't even commit to playing 82 games. How's he gonna commit to life? But not everyone was laughing. Sponsors started fleeing faster than Clippers fans after another playoff collapse. New Balance quietly scrubbed Kawhi from their homepage, while Gatorade issued a press release saying, "We support hydration, not fraud." The NBA itself had to go into damage control, with Commissioner Adam Silver holding the most awkward press conference since his work. "We are deeply concerned about the integrity of the translate. We're praying this doesn't tank our TV deal." Meanwhile, the so-called sources close to the situation kept leaking juicier and juicier details. One claimed that Uncle Dennis personally called Aspiration every Monday morning demanding Kawhi's check. Allegedly, Make sure my nephew gets his load management allowance. Another insider claimed Steve Ballmer was aware of the deal all along and even referred to it as our little side hustle. Whether true, the narrative had already spun out of control. And just when you thought it couldn't get any crazier, the government swooped. Federal prosecutors dropped a bombshell, suggesting that this wasn't just about salary cap tricks. This was about organized financial. Reports floated that Kawhi could be facing charges under something called the Sports Integrity Act, which, let's be real, sounds like a made-up law straight out of a Will Ferrell. Yet here we are talking about an NBA superstar potentially spending the rest of his life behind, all because of a scam that started with a simple endorsement. The shockwaves were. Talk shows couldn't stop covering it. Fans debated whether Kawhi should be stripped of his championships, and conspiracy theories exploded on. Was this all masterminded by Uncle? Was Ballmer pulling the strings from behind his billionaire? Or was Kawhi, the guy who barely talks, actually the smoothest con man in sport? The questions piled up, and the answers only made the scandal lurker. But trust me, the fallout hasn't even hit it. Because if you thought the fraud revelations were insane, wait until you see what happened when the hammer of justice finally down. The hammer and when it did, the sound echoed across the sports world like a buzzer beater in him. A federal court didn't just fine Kawhi, didn't just send him, they straight up handed him a sentence. Yes, the same man famous for managing his minutes now has to manage the life. Ours. Emery. The player who never liked playing back-to-backs now has an eternal back-to-back with third. The NBA followed suit with their punishment, slapping him with a ban. Gone. His stats remain in their books. Shredded like a contract. They made it clear. If you mess with the salary cap, you mess with the entire foundation of professional. And Kawhi, the quiet superstar, just became the poster child for what happens when you treat the NBA like your personal ward. The fallout for the Clippers was thick. Steve Ballmer, once hailed as the wild, passionate billionaire who danced on the sidelines like a dad at a wedding, now looked like the ringleader of a circus. The league hit the team with record-breaking fines, stripped multiple draft picks, and left their championship dreams. Remember when the Clippers were built dynasty? Yeah, now they're rebuilding like a DIY YouTube channel with subscribers. Fans were torn between betrayal. Outside Crypto.com arena, angry supporters burned jerseys, while a smaller group signs reading. One diehard even tried to smuggle pineapples into the courthouse as a tribute to Kawhi's infamous meme. On social media, hashtags like Trying to Fraud Kawhi and Life Sentence Leonard trended worldwide, sparking debates that split the NBA down the middle. Media circus? Absolute chaos. Sports had a field day. Stephen A. Smith declared, "This is the single greatest disgrace in NBA history. Worse than the malice at the palace, worse than Tim Donaghy, worse signed." Meanwhile, Skip Bayless found a way to blame LeBron James. Of course he did. Late-night comedians couldn't resist either. Jimmy Kimmel joked, Kawhi Leonard finally found a way to avoid playing for the Clippers. The deeper tragedy. Kawhi's image as the silent hard work been nuked. Instead of being remembered for buzzers and championships, he'll go down as the superstar who turned into embezzlement. They took load management to a whole new criminal level. The man whose career ended not with an injury, but with a sentencing gavel, and the ripple effect doesn't stop with him. Other franchises are now under scrutiny, with investigators combing through every shady business partnership in the league. Owners are sweating, agents are lawyering up, and players are whispering about who might be next. This isn't just Kawhi's scandal anymore. It's the scandal that could rewrite the future of the NBA. So there it is. Kawhi Leonard, banned for life, sentenced to life, and immortalized as the man who proved that even in the NBA, the quiet ones might just be pulling the loudest scams. And there you have it, folks, the Kawhi Leonard saga that went from buzzer beaters to prison bars. But here's the real question. Do you think this punishment was fair, or is Kawhi just the fall guy in a bigger NBA cover-up? Should the league be investigated for all the shady deals we don't know about yet? Drop your wildest theories in the comments because you already know this story is far from over. Smash that like button, subscribe for more scandalous breakdowns, and ring the bell. Because trust me, the next truth bomb is coming sooner than you think.